Illinois is a basketball team that's ranked very high as well, but they've lost 3 games so far this year. They're playing a 4-guard starting lineup with Kofi Coburn in the middle, the big 7-foot guy, and obviously a horse in the middle, to say the least. But why are they struggling right now, or at least why have they struggled here early?
Well, I think they've played a very difficult schedule, Don. If you look at their losses, they've lost at Rutgers, which is as hard of a team that you're going to play in their building. They've lost at Missouri, which is a rivalry game, which could have went either way. And I think they lost to Baylor, who arguably may be the number 1 team in the country, pretty early. So they've played very difficult competition. I think when you look at them in general, it goes through really the inside-out game. It starts with Kofi inside and then playing 4 really good guards around him who can shoot the ball. And then, their offensive attack and transition with the perimeter guys is as good as it's going to get in the country. Ayo Dosunmu, to me, he's one of the best players in all of college basketball in terms of on the perimeter as a one-on-one player, as a transition player. His size is problematic for any guard. But they have a slew of other guys. 2 freshmen, Andre Curbelo and Adam Miller, have added another 2 weapons on the outside. Adam Miller can really shoot, and Curbelo is a really crafty point guard. And then Trent Frazier's back, who's now a senior. And we know Trent Frazier for a long time now. He can really fill it up as well behind the 3. So they can hit you from both ways. They play around Kofi inside, and you got to find a way to deal with him. And then, their perimeter guys are really, really aggressive and attack-oriented, off the perimeter. But I think, when Illinois has seemed to struggle, it seems that the teams that have had some success against them are really trying to put Kofi in a lot of tough spots to try to bring him away from the basket as much as they can, or put him in ball screens to bring him up away from the basket. And teams are having some success with that. But to me, Illinois is as good as it's going to get in terms of our league. Like I said, they've played a very difficult schedule, especially early, to play that many really good teams here early. But going there over Christmas, playing them the day after, going into Champaign, that'll be a difficult task.
Coach, one other thing about the aspect of size and the rebounding thing, because rebounding right now, your team is about even with rebounding, no matter who you play. And because you are a little undersized at this point, is it a concern to you about the rebounding aspect of the game?
Well, I think the biggest concern, if you're asking our staff and whatnot, is going to be defensive rebounding. I think we're going to be a team that's not as good offensive rebounding as maybe we were a year ago, just because we're playing more of a 3-guard lineup. And at times those 3 guards are getting back in transition, or they're just not accustomed to going as much with that 3rd guy, especially if it's Armand and Rob and Al. They don't typically go. I think Race and Trace, they got to continue to give us great effort on the offensive boards. Obviously, Trace and Race are both really good offensive rebounders. And I think early in the season, we did a better job of going and crashing and doing a better job of here. But of late, especially in the Butler game, we were kind of non-existent on the offensive glass in terms of our second efforts. We have to find a way to get some second efforts. But the defensive rebounding percentage in the game is the one that I think is the most concerning. I think in our league, if you're rebounding 72% of the misses are up, 73, 74, 75, you're doing a pretty good job. But if you're in and around 70, or you're in the 69% range, to me, that's going to get us beat. So how do we clean up those 3 to 4 to 5, offensive rebounds that the team is getting right now? We're really stressing with our guards how they have to mix it up and how they're going to have to get more long ones. We're missing too many 50-50 long ones that are hitting our hands. And I think Race and Trace, from a defensive rebounding percentage, can do a better job. I think they can win more one-on-one battles in there, especially Trace. As we head to conference, Trace's rebounding numbers, it's tough to ask a guy who's doing as much as he is to do more. But I think Trace can do a better job of defensive rebounding for our team. If he could clean up maybe 2 or 3 more a game and go from 7 or 8 a game to 10, 9, 10, 11 a game, that's a big difference, getting 2 or 3 more that the other team doesn't get. So I would say, number one, defensive rebounding is probably our number one concern as the season continues to unfold.
One final thought, Coach. How has your team adapted to no fans in the stands, essentially?
Every school is like this, so you can't really use it as an excuse or complain. The Big Ten venues are the hardest in college basketball by far. It's the league that leads in attendance every year, and you have some of the great crowds that you're going to see. But when you play at Indiana Indiana is one of those few places that's why you go to Indiana. You come to Indiana because of our fans. You come to Indiana because of Assembly. And the building is so daunting. It's one of those things that kind of drops your jaw. But to play with it without fans, it's just different. It really is. It's just different. The energy level, the adrenaline that you have when you're warming up, it just has felt different. I felt like when we were in Maui, we had that adrenaline. Smaller place, no fans, great venue, good teams. I felt like there was adrenaline. You made your own. Florida State, same thing. You felt like you were in a tough place. The other day, even in Banker's Life, I can tell you, man, it was different. I mean, when you walk out there for the Crossroads, that's one of the great feelings that you'll have, man, is seeing that crowd when you're getting ready to play Butler or this year or Notre Dame. But I mean, that is a hyped environment and just different out there. So we've played 7. We're getting used to it now. I think it is funny at Assembly to be playing the game with what it is. But every team in our league's dealing with it, so it's not like it's going to be any different for Michigan State when they play at Breslin or Purdue when they play at Mackey. I mean, it's going to feel different for everybody, but it will be really interesting to see, Don, how the Big Ten, because last year, you remember, no one could win on the road for about a month and a half. It'll be really interesting to see how much those crowds really play a role in that home court advantage with the percentage of wins that are coming from home. But we're going to have to find maybe some guys outside of the arena throwing things at the opposing buses or something like that. I think we could probably find a few people to do that. But we got to get a little bit of that advantage back. We're going to create our own. I think once the ball does get tipped, it feels normal, but it's just a little different feeling on game day for sure.